You guys can see my screen, right? Okay. All right, so it's already 8 o'clock. I think we're going to start the sharing session. Again, welcome to everyone who come today. So basically what we're going to do today is just share whatever we've been through for the past few months to everyone, and not only within ourselves. So I'm going to actually start by actually introducing a bit about the program itself, how we come about the project, and how we actually managed to do the whole entire thing. And then I'm going to pass it to each one of the artists, just to let you guys know, not all of the artists actually made it out for tonight's sharing session because of due to some of the limitation that they have. So we have a few artists here that would love to share what their process that they went through during this residency. So I hope that it's going to be enlightenment or insightful for all of you guys to share out or see how we actually managed to do the visual that you guys see on 10th of July that we premiered last time. So before we start the whole entire thing, I think I would like to actually invite Kok Yong. So this project actually is an initiative by Filament, our collective, and also FabView, who's we work with quite a lot. So FabView is a digital fabrication cafe or collective based in Sunway. So I guess I pass it to Kok Yong to talk a bit about FabView and also share some few words.
Okay. All right. First of all, thank you, Shakir. What a great night for Lights On virtual projections mapping. And before I begin, I would like to also take this opportunity for the invitations from Filament to collaborate with FabView. We are a small collectives who are running a makers cafe in Sunway, right? We are also trying to champion and also spearhead this makers movement in Malaysia. Besides Filament, I would also like to take this opportunity given by Georgetown Festival and also Epson as an industry sponsor. We have 8 awesome and exquisite projects created by different local as well as international artist group, as I've been informed. I've seen the projections mapping during the premiere. I love it. As much as we love the works as well as the mediums, we all kind of have a common understanding that this is a very, 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 very expensive hobby art as well as a medium, right? But what Shakir as well as Filament has shown is that despite the sweeping restrictions on personal movement and liberty, when there is a will, there's always a way, even though we can't do the projections mapping on site. But they came up with this fantastic idea of you know, by empowering the people to do a remote mapping, right? Which I find it's very mind-blowing. Despite, you know, the restrictions of movement, our mind still travels. Even the materials, you know, I know how it works from the very beginning. Even the materials travel digitally as well, in the sense that, you know, FabU prepare the 3D model, and then we send it to a fabricator in Penang, and the Penang makerspace actually 3D print the stuff and ship it back to Malaysia. So that was quite a chore, but thanks to all this effort by different parties, we managed to make it happen. So the credit goes to all this unsung hero, all right, who is always and constantly pushing the boundary, breaking the ground, all in hoping that this art form can actually get a wider adoptions. Because this event is happening in the month of July, so this brought back a lot of memory of a DAC 10 years ago, as also in a GTF, also in Georgetown Festival, also in a Penang, but the setting was rather different. So I would also like to take this opportunity to give those the people who started the DAC, like Suzy, even Faris Hanapia as well during that time. It was under the name of Moshe Fixor, Ifozi, Farouk Sulaiman. So there was a large scale projections mapping that happened in the country in 2011, exactly 10 years ago. There were challenges for this medium to sustain as well as to gain tractions. And I would like to compare and likening this to the recognitions of photography as an art form in the 19th century, in the sense that it is mostly comprehended as a form of entertainment instead of a serious art, right? And it takes sweat and blood and time for it to set a foot in the history of art. So what Shakir and Philemon has made a difference today in the context of democratizing the medium as well as the technology. They are making it more accessible to the public with rather limited budgets and making the art form more relevant and experiential to the broader public. So now today we can see the transgressive aspects of projections mapping with the people building the scaffold, you know, for the appreciation aesthetic. And of course, also because of the time, you know, that we are in now with the price of the digital equipment going down, making this more and more ubiquitous, right? But personally, I still find, despite all this eye candy and gimmick, there's still a gap for this contemporary expression to be regarded as an art form, you know, of cultural expression. Because projections mapping always, you know, get described as an eye candy in its very synthetic effect of commission gimmick, event launching, receptions, which hardly creates a good theory base for discuss. So I would like to, you know, just think it out loud and urging the artists, instead of just adopting this and following the trend wave, I hope all the artists would actually be pushing the practice and the discourse to a more critical level by asking questions like, you know, what kind of spatial temporal transformation this medium can bring to our environment, to our space? What purpose does it serve? What content is meaningful to our local context? What is the relationship between the image and the building or the architecture that you projected on? Is it even a design, art, performance, or what is it, right? Are these categories even sufficient to describe, you know, this very peculiar art form? So most importantly, I think with all the people here, let's give this a wider thought and reaching out to a different connected topics that can enrich the way we all create and perceive this very peculiar art form, right? Congratulations to all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kok Yong. So yes, exactly whatever Kok Yong mentioned just now, it really makes sense. And I guess that is basically the gist of why we do this at the first place, because yeah, I personally I did get involved with the industry, the commercial part of the projection mapping itself for a while, and now I guess, you know, we sort of like turn into focusing more onto the art practice of whatever skill set that we already developed. So yeah, thank you for saying that, Kok Yong. So I guess for those who miss out whatever we showed or shared during the premiere on 10, I'm going to just play a video, a very short one, quick one, so that you guys can get an idea of what basically we do. So I'm going to play the video. Here you can see there is an audio. Right. Right. So yeah, that's basically what we did. For the past few days. I mean, on 10th we premiered that. And it's 20-minute sort of long piece of encompasses of um, 8 artwork by 9 of artists that we have. Unfortunately, not all of the artists is here tonight to talk with us. So what we're going to do today, again, like what I mentioned earlier, for those who just joined in, we basically going to share, each one of the artists going to share their process for the past month that they are in the residency, and sort of talk about process that they went through, because not all of the artists actually familiar with the medium that we're doing. And that's the whole idea of this residency, because we wanted to actually open up the opportunity for those who doesn't have the opportunity to work on this medium. So I'm going to actually start on sharing how we came about this project. Just like, okay. So we actually worked with Georgetown Festival in 2019, and that was the first time that we managed to work on projection mapping in Penang, because we always went around Penang, and Penang, one of the city like Georgetown, is one of the city that have a lot of this interesting architecture, architectural building, because it is UNESCO site. Other than that, like, even there is a lot of other small towns, small cities in Malaysia have this really nice architecture building that we always wanted to just do something with it, because what we felt is that whenever we pass on to like an old building, we tend to forget about the building itself, because there is nothing to see, and maybe there's vein going out and stuff. But putting up some lights and projections, it brings up the memory, and also put some character into the building itself, and bring back bring back the building to our own eyes and our own face. And that's what we always wanted to do, especially with Georgetown. And after we finished 2019, I think some of you guys also see what we did in 2019. We did two parts. So one part is we did the whole show itself on town hall, and we did the open calls on city hall. So the idea that we have for 2020 is to basically do something similar, by open up a bit more on how we can actually collaborate and work with more other artists, internationally or even locally. And hence the idea is to create like a workshop or a sharing session, which end up we wanted to actually have a residency. The idea is to share with people, because most of the time when we did competition, when we did open calls, those who actually join in are those who are familiar with the medium, and those who can work with the medium there is a certain limitation on how they work with it. So the idea is to open up that. So we come up with the virtual residency ideas, and then as you guys know, we hit COVID, and it put on hold starting from 2020 up until end of 2020. We sort of like decided it might going to move. I mean, going to continue. So we wanted to do something different. So the idea is to have these three main component, which is mapping, which then we go down to micro mapping. We have virtual residency, which is hold out the whole entire thing. And then I definitely want to do sharing session, because we can actually show the visual, we can show the mapping, we can show the actual output itself. But what I think important is for everyone actually to understand the process behind it, because that is actually the heart, blood, and in tears that all of the artists actually went through, So I wanted to actually share that to everyone if can. So we went to 1 month virtual residency. So we have some of the artists here which going to share the amazing process that they went through. It was great. And it's also interesting because some of us actually stranger, we never met each other, and to be honest, we never met until now physically. It's just like it's all virtual. So it's also something interesting to see, and to even within our group message and communication that we had, like each one of the artists actually help each other, because that's the whole idea about what we do even at Filament. It's always about collaboration and bringing people together and work on something together. So like it's not always about this done by this person, but sometimes it's these people around you that help you to grow and create something together. So yeah, that's what we did. We meet up every week to just share whatever our progress and so on. And going back to the initial idea that we did, why we actually move into micro mapping itself, because the limitation of the current situation. So we would love to actually continue do virtual, not virtual residency, just residency by uh, uh, the residency itself would be doing a projection onto a building. But we remember that after we did the Georgetown Festival, we did a few talks where we actually bring this more, because this is actually one of our practice also. We normally will have a mock-up of the building that we projected onto, to show to our clients or event organizer or even the artists on how it's going to look like at the end of the day. So we thought that why not we actually use the same similar method, and do a recording where we can actually project it back to virtual event kind of thing. So that's the initial idea. And then we remember that when we go around Penang, there is a lot of other building that we can do, and there is some building that we wanted to actually do projection mapping, but there is no opportunity for us to do. So we were thinking about why not we actually do a few buildings. Like we find maybe 10 artists and then do 10 building. That's the initial as we progress. And then we end up like, why we actually is Georgetown Festival, why we actually wanted to do building, dream big lah. So we decided to actually do the whole entire city. That's how sort of like how we progress from doing just one or two building to doing the whole entire city. So I mean, it's not new. I mean, there's a lot of other places or a lot of other cities did something similar, but our approach would be something a bit more inclined to expressive on how you would like to actually express yourself, or artistic interpretation on the piece itself, or especially directly for this is the city itself. So hence we would love to actually do a mock-up of the 3D mock-up of the city and do a projection mapping onto it. So that's basically the idea lah. And I did some very simple basic mapping, basic sketch on how it's going to be done. I share it to our team at Filament, share it with you too, And then I also share this to Epson, our partner, our long-term partner, on how we can actually make this happen, because it can be done by just using simple or much more smaller projector. But I think about, you know, how we can actually give the best of whatever we can do, and using the best product that we can have right now. So we went to Epson to actually get 3 of their projector. They loan out the projector to us, and as we discussed, um, I, I we sort of like come up with this theme or a concept, like just an initial concept of how we can actually put a direction for this project, but at the same time be open as possible for interpretation. So we come up with hybrid, which is actually the idea from it actually come from rojak, because you know, if you go to Penang, it's always about, you know, pasar bor, about rojak and stuff, and it's always about food. Who wanted to actually, you know, infuse that into you know, whatever interpretation that the artist wanted to do, including us on you know, how we basically do this whole entire project. And interestingly, it can be seen, especially if you see some of the work that been presented. There is a lot of juxtapositions and mix and hybrids of a lot of things. And we did the simple template. At first, the idea is to just have a flat surface and we project on top of it, but we thought that it will be interesting if you have a background to do something with it, and it gives more depth in terms of 3D kind of look. So we wanted to actually have that opportunity for all of the artists to try it out, you know. So we come up with the template, like what Kotya mentioned just now. In fact, we actually provided the 3D and we send it to our also another partner, Connective Lab, Kimi in Penang. So for those in Penang who wanted to do 3D printing, he actually have the service to actually do it. So what we did is basically, this whole entire pieces is around 150 to 150 cm. So we cut it into small pieces. As you can see, it's a block by block. So from the 3D model, we cut it into small pieces because you cannot print out the whole entire you know, the whole entire model. So we need to actually print piece by piece and then put it up together like a puzzle kind of thing. So yeah, finally we actually have a simple mockup, a 3D simple mockup of the star itself. And we actually, what happened, the initial idea was we supposed to actually go to Penang, and you know, set up in Penang, bring the projector from KL to Penang and do recording all in Penang. But then I don't know whether the second or third PKP hit us. We basically need to ship back the 3D printed material from Penang back to KL. So everything has been done in KL. We would love to actually go to Penang to actually do the final recording, but unfortunately we cannot do it. So as you can see here, we managed to do this in our gallery, digital gallery in Kedai KL. We set up a small area, and then you know, thanks to Epson for the projector, it's actually really helpful, because we can actually focus each one of the plane to each one of the for each one projector. And yeah, this is some of the snapshot that I get. I would love to actually open this up for everyone to actually see it, because it's much more interesting to see live physically, because you can actually see all these details on each one of the buildings and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But you know, it's we on our side, we try our best to actually capture whatever we can do, or what we can capture to show it to everyone. Hopefully it does capture that, and yeah, do justice to all of the artists' work. So, I guess that's basically just about the whole entire project itself. And I'm not going to actually, you know, make this super long session. I'm going to pass to our first artist, Kam. So Kam, if you're ready, you can actually share your project.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Kam from Penang. So first I would like to take this opportunity to thank Georgetown Festival, Philemon, Shakir from Philemon, and then Kok Yong from Pet U Cafe, Kimi from Cognitive Lab, and everyone who is involved in this project, making it happen. And also all the artists, thank you so much for the support. First, I want to let you know that I'm not a digital artist, and this is really a challenge for me. And I couldn't make this happen without the help from Shakir for editing and also mapping my video. Thank you so much. So when I look at the theme Lights On, the first thing that comes to my mind is shadow puppets. So I did not actually manage to play with shadow puppets, but I did do some shadow puppets for exhibition in the past. So the shadow puppets inspiration come from another artist, Tin Toy. He did Peperangan Bintang, the one from Star Wars. So I also wanted to, I was inspired to try something of my own. Then I did this piece in 2019. I hope you can see this. This is actually just to show that I'm eco-aware. This is on a used banner, and then the silver pieces are cut out from those beverage foil packings because I love to drink coffee as well. So I save up all the sachet and then I cut it up and then I make into this. This is actually a green demon from the Ramayana story. So this was exhibited in Bangkok at that time. Okay, and then to be true to my culture and heritage, I have some Peranakan blood from my dad's side. So I also did this piece. I call it Nonya Kabaya. So it's just a take to show my culture and heritage. And you can see the colors of the kabaya and then also the tiffin carrier. This was exhibited in Penang. Okay. And then my next piece, this one unfortunately was not accepted, supposedly to be for exhibition in Bangkok. So this is also another piece to show a little bit of a new agey type of sitting or meditation, and then wearing the headphone just to try to be a little bit more modern. So I did this as well. And then for this exhibition, time was very limited. I was actually happy because of the lockdown. Then we got some extension of time. So this is the piece I made for the video. I only used the top part of the my work. So the bottom part is just to show you that it's actually cut out from cardboard, and then I just paint it black with acrylics. And then for this one, I made the hand movable so that I can do some actions. So it's a bit more lively. And then these are some of the props that I use for my video. You have the coconuts, and then the mysterious box, which is more of the mock-up city of Georgetown. And then I have the the light, the oil lamp, just to be in tune with the theme Lights On. Okay, so let me tell you how I made the wine cooler. Just a very simple tool. This is a broken off head of a hammer. And I use a carving tool from a 2 ringgit store. So I just knock slowly. And finally, I will get the carvings out on the cardboard itself. Okay. So a little bit sharing of my video. It is actually my story of Penang because I'm from Penang. So it started off with the sea breeze. I love the sea breeze very much. And then it goes on into the scene of Penang Bridge and also the scene of the ferry. So during those times, this is just a walk down memory lane. We have option whether you want to use the Penang Bridge or you want to use the ferry to move from the island to mainland and so forth. So those were the days when me and my friends, because you don't have to pay when you go from island to mainland. So I will follow my friend, send him off through the ferry, through the mainland. And then after that, take the ferry back to the island again. So this is a memory for me. And the next one is an airplane. This is during my birthday. I remembered my friend bought a ticket for me from Penang to KL. This is really my first time on a flight. Very nervous right now. So very happy to incorporate this in the video as well. And then I have some of the sketches, some that I use, some that I do not use. And then after that, there's also a scene where parasailing, a lot of people enjoying parasailing. I always see parasailing, the parachute as the jellyfish floating in the air. And I always smile with that scene because jellyfish is my favorite food. It has no cholesterol and then it has collagen, very good for the face. And then the scene where the coconut, this is from I'm from an all boys school, Penang Free. So boys will be boys. And I have this teacher, physical chemistry teacher, Mr. Loh Hua Sin, a very funny guy. I hope he's still around. So he talked about, it's very fortunate that Einstein is a foreigner because an apple fall on his head and then he found out about gravity and then he got the equation E equals to mc squared. What happens if Einstein is local? Imagine if Einstein is a local Malaysian, then maybe a durian or coconut might fall to his head, on his head. And then the formula will come out as like E equals to mong cha cha. This is only the locals will know what I mean. Okay, and then we go on to some scenes of the sea creatures. I remembered my father bringing me to the first bridge, to the below the first bridge, and then we fish for pufferfish. Actually, not fishing for pufferfish, but this is the main catch of the day. We keep catching pufferfish. This is not what we want because it's poisonous. So we have to remove it. Just use a slipper, and then you hold on to it, and then remove the hook from the mouth, and then throw it back into the water. And after that, we catch it again. So pufferfish is very significant for me. Just a memory with me and my dad. And then the last scene is full of colors, full of pufferfish under the sea, and then jellyfish again. I remembered the time when I was rushing for the last ferry back to the island. I came via the train, and then it was almost midnight. And if I don't catch the last ferry, then I have to wait until the next morning for the first ferry, which is 6 a.m. And then my mom was waiting at the other side of the island, waiting for me to fetch me home. So I rush, and then I managed to get on the last ferry ride. And then usually on ferry rides, I like to stay on the side, enjoying the sea breeze. And then if you look straight into the water at the surface, you can see those jellyfishes floating. Very, very beautiful, very, very relaxing. And then at that time, I remember there was a nightclub at the pier playing music. So when the ferry was nearing the island, the loud music with the lights hitting on the sea surface and then lighting all the jellyfishes and everything. So this is what I'm trying to portray in my video. So my video transition from black and white, which is to stir up your the feeling of nostalgia, just to walk down memory lane. And then it continues to transition into color and colorful. So in tune with the theme, lights on. So my phrase will be, it's never too late to learn something new, especially during the pandemic. I really experienced this during this residency. It was really difficult because I have no digital drawing experience. I have to draw using a mouse, and it's very, 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 very difficult and something that I think I will never achieve, but I did it. So a shout out to everyone. Don't fear, just face your fears, and then you'll be able to do it. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kam. So that is really interesting because I think you are the only artist that we have from Penang doing stuff for Penang itself. So it's really, really interesting to even, I didn't even actually get the whole entire story that you have up until you mentioned everything.
Thank you. Just to share, yeah.
Interesting, yeah. Cool. We'll actually open up for Q&A. You can actually put up your question on the chat box, or yeah, and we're going to actually collect it, and we'll do a Q&A at the end of this session. I think now we can actually go to next artist. Is Vincent and Haris is okay to go next?
Ooh, done.
Cool. Congrats. Thank you, Kam.
Thank you.
Let's go to Haris and Vincent from all the way from Indonesia.
Hello. Can you guys
Hi.
hear me? Yeah, so hi everybody. My name is Haris, and that's my partner Vincent. So we're from Indonesia. I just want to thank you for all of you guys for helping us to create this and invite us also to create this. Such an amazing experience that we have, because this is our actually first time really do projection mapping. Usually we work for commercial stuff. So yeah, this is very exciting because there's no client.
There's no client.
The feedback is only from us. Okay, all right, that's good. So my title for this one is In Holiday We Find Unity. So why? Because when I see the brief from Shakir about like the Malaysia culture stuff, I was thinking because last time me and Vincent studying in the one academy also Malaysia. So it's been like, I think 5 years ago, we graduated. I think, man, we're old. So yeah, we have very great experience studying there and then working there also. But we try to like remember what like Malaysia culture, what is Malaysia culture? The culture is so similar with Indonesian culture. Like you guys have batik, we also have batik. And then like you guys have gamelan, we also have gamelan. So it's like very similar. So I want to like find like what is the difference. So I really experienced a great long time of holiday in Malaysia. So like there's a lot of red dates there. So like always holiday, every time holiday. So yeah, that's good. So I also asked a bunch of my Malaysian friends. So like, hey, why you in Malaysia? Because I saw like so many different culture there, and all of them mostly speak in different language. Then I'll ask them like, how you guys find unity in it? So what I experienced is last time is sports lah. You guys watching Lee Chong Wei, suddenly everybody become kawan, right? That's cool. And then another thing, but yeah, I can't draw Lee Chong Wei because he's too cool. So I want to try to find like something more traditional. So we draw about the Malaysian holiday. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous here. Okay, let me share my screen. So I'm gonna share you my storyboard. Can you guys see it? Yeah. All right. So basically, when I talked to some of my friends also, like, so I only remember like in Malaysia, you guys have like 3 different cultures, like Malay, Chinese, and Indian. So like what else? My friends say, but you remember there's also people from Orang Asli. So I researched about Iban, Suku Iban. And then, yeah, that's why we draw this weird gods, because I saw this image actually in their tribal shields. So yeah, I tried to project it to be like the god here. And then, so yeah, basically this is a sequence of like Malaysia holiday. And then another thing that I thought Malaysia is very unique is their language, because they have so many different slangs. So if I zoom in, actually, this is all the slang that I remember you guys talk there. So like abuden, macha. So all of this like remind me about Malaysia. So yeah, so after I finished all this storyboard, I was like thinking, man, this is too big. I can't finish it by myself. So I asked my friend Vincent to help me out. So Vincent, can you share the screen, your screen?
Sure. Can you guys hear me? I mean, like, is there any feedback on the speaker? Okay, okay. Let me show you my screen. So which one do you want to see first? I think
Anything, man.
anything. Okay.
So
I mean, step by step. I think first frame first. This one. This one is the, I don't know what is it called, Haris.
I don't know. I also don't know. I just like find the event picture and then like, oh, this is look cool. Let's make it like a god. So yeah, in the story, actually, this is supposed to be the god that make Malaysia become one. So he's clapping an energy to give a power to the P9 Georgetown. Yeah, the laser, everything came out. So yeah, Vincent is very good at 3D. Me, I'm just good at talking. So yeah, most of the most of the animation is done by Vincent. I just like mostly I do the sketch stuff and then some simple modeling.
Haris is actually very good at VFX. Yeah, all the VFX is done by Haris actually. Yeah, this one cannot be achieved without Haris.
Allah. Okay.
So this one is the first frame. Yeah, and then we move on to the next frame. The next frame will be the, I think the peacock, is it? Yeah, in the 3D stuff, I think it's peacock. Yeah, this one is the,
Yeah, this is it. What you see is actually a software called Blender here. So Blender have this cheap rendering engine called Eve, because yeah, our computer too, we have like very bad computer here, so we cannot render high stuff quality. So yeah, we try to achieve with more cheaper way. That's why we use Blender for rendering.
yeah, this one also, Blender also in EV, we can have a very fast rendering. So in the normal way, normally we render one frame is around 4 minutes, but in EV it's like only what, 2 seconds, but we sacrifice some quality in there.
Yeah,
So
so
this is the peacock. Yeah.
yeah, the peacock we try to represent about Tepavali holiday. Can continue, bro.
Okay, let's move on. Maybe we try the dragon.
Yeah, and then of course we remember about Chinese New Year. So to draw the lion dance itself is very hard to create the 3D. So we try to cheat just to make the dragon, because we can just copy the body. If you see, actually, yeah, it's all cheating, man. Because dragon is like snake, we don't have to rig the leg, the head, and everything. So yeah, this is, we just use a spline animation here. So basically we draw a curve path here, and then the dragon can just follow the path.
And we did some very cheap simulation in here. Hey, I think the breaking the glass
okay.
is, yeah, it's not in this one. Yeah, so far it's like this.
I watched this stand-up comedy last time called Kong Hei Fat Chow. I mean, I wish you are rich. So that's why we put coin here. So like, yeah.
Yeah. I think that the glass is breaking is.
Yeah. Continue, man.
Okay, let's move on.
So this is the Wang Bulan. Is it? Are you showing the Wang Bulans, Vincent?
Yeah, this one is the lantern.
Lantern. Okay. So yeah, I also first time experienced Lantern Festival in Malaysia, because in Indonesia we don't like really celebrate this kind of stuff. That's why we recreate this also. And then when we're studying, there's like a festival, lantern festival. So like students are making these lanterns last time. So yeah, it really give us a nostalgic feeling lah.
Yeah, this one. I think we can't really play the animation because this one's simulation quite big.
Heavy. Yeah, so like that wall, actually we try to represent about like, okay, from all your different language, this is the barrier, then the barrier is open lah. Alamak.
Should we move on?
Yeah, move on, man. I think we're almost done.
Yeah, this one is the kite, and then the last one. Next is the
So
last one.
yeah, this is the Wang Bulan. This is very specific Malaysia, because we always see this in every commercial, I think. And then if I Google Malaysia, I always see this kite. So I try to draw the pattern by myself here. Basically it's different with Malaysia batik. I just try to draw any psychedelic stuff here, but it looks like batik lah. So yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Hey, that's my auntie. Hi, auntie.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, that's it about our work.
Last one. This one.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, this is the final explosion. So like from all different culture, you guys mix it up, and then you become one big light. So that's why lights on. Yeah. I just make it just now. So what is our quote, Vincent?
Oh, what?
The quotes that we write.
When there's light, there's possibilities.
Yeah. So
that one came from. I was imagining is if the world is in a blackout condition, so we can't really achieve what we see, what we want to shape, what we want to what we want to apply or something like that. So light is quite very fundamental things in our life actually. With light, we can move around. With light, we can create something, we can achieve something. With light, we can see the path with where we are going. So I'm thinking about that. Light is quite the fundamental things to open a new way. So if we imagine if there's no light in this world, so we don't know where to go. We don't know what should we build. We don't know what to shape. So I was thinking like, yeah, I think when there's light, there's possibilities. So everything can be achieved when there's light.
oh man, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So basically, that's it. That's our stuff. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Vincent, and thank you, Haris. That's yeah, it is true actually, and I think that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy to light stuff, I guess, because there is a lot of possibilities. Um, Again, if you guys have any question, any comments and stuff, please drop it down on chat. We're going to actually do a very quick Q&A session at the end of this session. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Haris. You can actually stop sharing session, stop sharing your screen, and then we can move to next artist. I think I'm going to invite Mel from MSC. So from Penang we go to Jakarta, and then now we actually go to Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, to our friend in Vietnam. Yes. So over to you, Mel.
Hi everyone. Can you guys hear? So we are come from Vietnam, and also thank all of you guys to open this festival. Also invited us to join. I had something to share here. Wait.
Can you find the share screen button? It's down below.
In the middle, there's a green button, share screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, already.
There you go. You can see your screen.
Okay. Can you guys see the PDF file?
You can see the PDF file. Yes.
Okay. So, first we have a idea about hybrid and mixing. So we try to think about mixing those stuff like circle, square, and triangle, and also the culture from Vietnam and Malaysia. First, actually, I don't know how to call the stuff from Malaysia, so Sakir and Cam help me to find the name of this. So I come up with the circle will be the balm, the golden star balm from our culture, and also you guys culture is tiger balm, and on the square is the cake, and the last one is triangle with our leaf hat, and you guys is Karansun head gear. I don't know how to spell, and the mixture of many different patterns. So the final one, we are thinking about Penang will grow off or will be become a futuristic city in future. So maybe in our imagination, and our workflow will be using model Cinema 4D to modeling, then import into Knot to animation and compositing. After we rendering different sort, we finalize it into Premiere Pro. So this is our workflow, and I also record my workspace because I am using my laptop. I cannot show the real file. This one I render some style frame because I make the mapping. Maybe you guys cannot see is clear, and this one is the final scene I make for the neon sign for futuristic. This one is here. You can, and wait, I squeeze it, so here how we make it. This one is the Cinema 4D and Knot.
It's a very powerful computer you have there. You can easily run both software at the same time.
Yeah, all the things like compositing we didn't do on After Effects. Now we are changing into NOS. So modeling, animation, and also compositing is one software. Like I said in the fables, I didn't do the technique part. So my friend do the technique part, but he too sorry. So
He's very shy.
yeah, he's too shy to talk about it. So that's all we have today. So thank you all you guys to participate this event. And hopefully we will meet you guys outside maybe next year.
Yes, hopefully.
It's about 10 years I haven't come back to Malaysia.
Yeah, you also were studying in Malaysia also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting too. We didn't even actually know that, you know, some of you guys actually study in Malaysia. So it's interesting to see that. And yeah, thank you, Mel, for sharing. It's really interesting to see how you guys actually made this. I've never been even take opportunity to try. I did try Notch, but yeah, I didn't manage to actually buy it yet because it's quite expensive software. But yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mel. So I guess we can
Yeah.
actually move forward to next artist.
This
Yes.
is the guy.
Hi. The Notch guy. All right. Thank you guys. Let's move on to next artist. So we're going to move. We're going to go to Sherlyn. If Sherlyn is here, so Sherlyn did also use something interesting. A different kind of software that most of us is using. So I'm interested to actually see what Sherlyn share to us. Yes, over to you, Sherlyn. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, now we can hear you. Can you share screen?
Sharing. So
Got it. Nice. All right, cool.
So yeah. Hi, I'm from Malaysia and in KL. And I did this one called Resonance. And I think mine is considerably vague compared to others. I don't really have like a storyline. So this is like one of my initial sketch in the beginning. So which you can see it didn't happen, but so and actually only started playing around with it in April, and so I thought it would be a good time to actually try like experimenting with it during this residency. So the idea was like hybrid mixture of things. So I thought like traditional and modern, like the lights itself is like modern and new, and Georgetown is an old city. So I was thinking of what I could do with this, and yeah, like the name Resonance. This thing is really vague, but I thought instead of the colors and I show like how like harmony, like how we resonate in the same frequency despite our differences. Like you know how there's this theory that two different clocks would eventually swing by the same frequency at some point. So I went on with this
Sorry, Sherlyn,
idea.
is quite cracky on your side. Maybe you can turn off your camera to see if it's okay. It's better. Yeah. Let's try to turn off your camera. Can't really hear you.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's slightly better, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah. So and what else? Like my if you see in the video, like my works always start with the compound building, because the building itself, it was built to signify, to symbolize the Malaysian heritage back then. And I thought it would be a good point to start like each scene, I guess, to start from this building. And so the traditional elements I added in was like batik and wayang kulit, because I did some research on both of these elements. Like when we think of Malaysian arts, most of us would think of batik and wayang kulit. And I realized that if you research on this, you'll find that it has roots in Indonesia, China, India, and even Europe, which I think all embodied in the whole like Malaysian culture, whether like even though it's like maybe subtle, but I think it's a form of art that in a way represents all of us, even though most of us just think of it as like a Malaysian. For this specific scene, I tried to use the Malaysian flag colors to be like blue, white, red, and yellow. Very subtle, but you can see the whole thing is more blue in, unintentionally, but I realized that's what I've been doing, like, because even my previous works are always blue. So it was subconsciously, like, I worked towards like bluish tone. But I did try to incorporate more colors for the that specific scene. For this one, I had like this screenshot is really blurred, but the flowers behind are actually the hibiscus flower. So, and like the yellow one are also other like native flowers, flowers native to Malaysia. And the waterfall behind changes to like subtle shadows of the puppets. Yeah, everything's kind of subtle. But yeah, so blue also signifies harmony, I guess, which we all need at this point, this period. So yeah, I think it fits well too, even though it's something I always work with. So that's about it. If for now, if you have any questions, you can ask me later on.
Thank you, Shalene. That's awesome. I didn't even actually realize you actually have some color code for some of the scenes. And the Jala Gemilang idea is actually very clever. And yeah, you specifically asked me to actually record a certain angle, which is actually it really works well with the final output for your project. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, because yeah, I was thinking of doing anamorphic too at the beginning, like some of the others, but I don't know, like I start to think of it more as an installation, like as I was doing it. So I would like to see the buildings itself. So, yeah.
True. I think that's also the first idea that we had initially, but then due to the restriction, we can't actually open it for public viewing. I guess if it's an installation by itself where people can actually go around and check it out as a 360 kind of installation, I think is much more interesting because they got to choose whatever they want to see from a different kind of perspective. So hopefully we can actually do that in the near future. Hopefully. Yeah. Awesome. Yes, again, like what Shani mentioned, if you guys have any questions, regarding any kind of thing, technical or not technical, you can actually ask on the chat box down below, and we'll gather it out and do some quick Q&A at the end. I guess we can actually go next. We don't have our friends from Europe, actually, unfortunately, from Europe and also Central America. They are missing because definitely they are either probably sleeping or just wake up. So I guess next we can actually go to Sophia. If Sophia is free.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sophia.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming out. Hi, Mom. Hi, Auntie Shamim. Thanks for coming. I have a little presentation for you guys. So for my piece, I called it Penang's a Small Island. And I'll share with you, this is not it. You guys can see my screen okay? Sweet. So my piece is called Penang's a Small Island, and I'll tell you why in a bit. So just a bit about myself. I am a Malaysian doodle artist. I have done illustrations, and I started back in 2013. I started an Instagram page called Soap Doodles, and I was just posting my drawings for fun, just to keep me motivated to keep making art. And I never thought that anything would come about with it. And I started to draw things to do with well-being and mental health and words of encouragement. And so with my Instagram account, Soap Doodles, I started to post and create things in hopes that my drawings could help other people and also help myself. And so I was doing this for a while, and then I also started to get more opportunities because of it. People started to come to my Instagram page and come to me and say like, hey, your drawing helped me, or hey, your drawing really resonated with me. And from that, I started to get some opportunities. Like I got asked to paint murals. And so this is a mural I painted for my university's food bank. And I got to do other things like for office spaces and for cafes. And I was still just posting for fun. I still didn't think anything would come about it. And then the pandemic hit. And that's when I kind of decided to gravitate towards art and start creating digital art, because that's a way you could earn from home. And so I started to create digital art cards for people and pieces, and that's how I started to get interested in animation. So this year, through trying to focus on art, I managed to do another art residency before this one. And I created a watercolor piece mapping the areas around me. And I would go out every day and cycle and try to map the places around me. And this is when I would first start to use color in my artwork. Before it was just pen and paper, and then it would be on the walls. And then later on, or last year, after I was doing all these illustrations and creating comics and trying to tell my story about life experiences in hopes to help other people, I compiled it into a comic book and got MPH, Malaysian Publishing House, interest. And so I'll be publishing a comic book soon, hopefully. It'll hopefully be printed. And yeah, so all these things this year during the pandemic and coming back and trying to try new things has been pushing me to do art. And then this opportunity came out where I'm starting to do digital art. And I'm interested in animation, but I'm very intimidated. And then this residency happened, and this was kind of what pulled me in to start creating animation. And so I did the first meeting. I was really thrilled I got in. I wasn't expecting it. And after the first meeting, they were talking about projection mapping. And I had never heard about projection mapping before. So I was like, oh no, what is projection mapping? After the first meeting, I had no clue. I had never animated at this point. I had never heard of projection mapping, and I had just started to illustrate digitally. So it was all very new and overwhelming for me. And so they told us the theme of this was Rojak, which is a mix, and it's for the Georgetown Festival. And so I started to think of what could I do, what could I draw, and what did I think about Georgetown? And so earlier last year, I went on a trip with my friend who came to visit me, and we went to Penang. And what I noticed about Georgetown is that it's very vibrant. There's a lot that's going on in the streets. There's a lot of colors. And there's a lot of good food. And I noticed that there's a lot of cool street art hidden in the corners. And so I was thinking about this when I was thinking about what could I draw. Yes, there's lots of cats as well. And the last thing was I noticed there's a lot of trishaws. And so I thought about this trip, thinking about the theme, and I kind of compiled a little mood board. And so I'm like, yeah, I remember the streets, they were vibrant. I remember the food and how it was just exciting to be there. And I wanted to capture this all in my animation. And so for those who don't know what projection mapping is, like me and maybe my mom in the crowd, how it works is that they give you basically a canvas to animate on. So we had 3 panels that we were animating on. So there was 2 walls and then a 3D map of Penang. And so what we were going to do is, at least what I did, was illustrate and then animate over this canvas. And you always had to picture that there was going to be a 3D dimension of it. And so I began starting to storyboard everything. I was like, yeah, I want the trishaw. Yeah, well, I love roti canai. I'm going to put that in. And I had no clue how to animate still. So I was still just like, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to learn. And so I put it all together in a sequence, thinking of transitioning, like just thinking of ways to make it cool. I was kind of intimidated by everyone else because everyone was using all these big words and like had so much background and was competing around the world in these competitions. And so I was just trying to play it cool and kind of think, okay, I think I can understand what to do. And it was hard. Like learning animation was tough. I'm really thankful I had a friend, Shadell, to help me out and teach me how to do it. And it took me a long time to just understand how movement worked. But it was also really cool to become more aware of how movement worked. Like just how, for instance, if you think of the cat swishing its tail, like, oh, I would never think about how it would swish one way, but then automatically go backwards. Like there was so many small things I didn't notice that now I was noticed. So it kind of made me become more mindful and more appreciative of things. And so first I started to illustrate the scenes that I wanted. So I would capture the street food. I was trying to capture all the different cultures in the street food. And I was trying to stick to a 5 color palette apart from the sky. So that was fun to work with color. And so it slowly illustrate things I thought that captured Penang. I would capture the food I enjoyed, like char kway teow. I would try to do a naan being cooked in a tandoor oven. And if you're curious of how I did it, I would go on Adobe Photoshop and I would illustrate each item and then I would import it into Adobe After Effects, and then kind of each layer or each item is a layer, and I would move it around and capture each movement, and it would slowly create this animation. And it took me a very long time to understand how this worked, but eventually I got it. And so I captured food and I focused on food because I think food brings Malaysians together. And I also wanted to capture the trishaws in Penang. I think they're quite iconic and I think they bring life to the streets. So I slowly put these all together. And the one thing that I automatically thought of is I wanted to capture someone making roti canai. I watched so many videos to understand how they did it. I still don't know, but I tried my best to kind of mimic it. So I put it all together and I created this piece. And the reason why I called it is Penang is a small island, is because when I did the trip with my friend Emma to Penang, we met someone there and we met an old friend and her friend group. And they wanted to give us a ride and they would always say like, yeah, we'll give you a ride. Penang's a small island. Penang's a small island. And then afterwards we kept saying it to each other like, yeah, Penang's a small island. So it became like a little inside joke. And so I was trying to capture the food of Penang, but also the memories I had with Emma in Penang. And so if you look at my piece, you can see little text happening in the bottom on the map. It's like little diary notes of like, yeah, this is such a good trip, Ima. I call it Ima. And the food in Penang is Sedap. And that we took a 6-hour bus ride from KL to Penang. So all these tiny notes to kind of bring back the memory of our time there, and that Penang's a small island. And very lastly, I put it all together and I needed sound effects. So I would go on like hour-long videos of street food in Malaysia and just listen for the background sound and like kind of pick bits and smosh it up. And so if you watch my piece and take a listen, I tried to be intentional with what's being said or what's being repeated, just to give like a feel like you're actually there on the streets and in the markets. So yeah, that's my piece. Penang's a small island. Thank you for listening and thank you for coming out tonight.
Awesome. Thank you, Sophia. That's great. Yeah, like some of our chat box comments mentioned, you actually really get the whole essence of Penang itself, and that's mostly what we get when we went to Penang. It's always about food most of the time. That's great. I think let's go to the last presenter, and then we can actually do some wrap up and do some quick Q&A. Just left our two more artists, Chisunro and also Kelly. Just notes that they actually never met. They didn't know each other before this virtual residency. We were just like, okay, these two person, they have skills on different kind of skill sets. Why not we put them into same project and see what happened. So yeah, that's what happened to Yunro and Kelly. I'm going to pass to Yunro to start sharing your projects.
All right. Hi, guys. Okay, I'm Yunro. I'm an illustrator, and my partner is Carrie. Carrie, say hi. Yeah, this is Carrie. He's a motion artist. So before we start, I would like to share a little bit of my background. So I've been illustrating for the past few years, and this program is something that I've been noticing for the 2-3 years in the past. But every time when I see it, it's always I'm interested, but it feels to me that it's something that I would never get into because of the limitations of my skill set, because I can only illustrate and I don't really know how like animations and also motion graphic, moving images works. So when I first saw the opportunity, I wrote to them, and then I kind of I can't really remember if I asked Shakil if I could collaborate with someone or something, but I was like, please, I'm really interested. I will learn. So this is how the collaboration came about. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me a moment. Yep. All right. So this is Pulau K1. Our project is about a little bit on Penang's history, and then there's 3 parts. The first part is on Penang's history a little bit, and then the second and third part is more on more of me and Carrie's imaginative Penang. So why is the name Pulau K1? Pulau K1 is actually the name of Penang in the past, before the name Penang came about. So in the past, people, there are a lot of seafarers, and when they go on the sea, they would pass this big island, and they would call it because it's the biggest island that came about throughout their road on the journey. So they would call it Pulau K1. So it's like the big island. Okay, so this is Carrie's and my project. I would be working on mostly on the illustrations, and Carrie took over after I finished all the artwork. Okay, but before I passed to Carrie, we kind of have a lot of discussions in the beginning, and then he kind of let me do what I want to do, and I let him do what he wants to do. So even though there are a lot of discussion in the beginning in terms of direction on what we want to do, there are a lot of surprises as well. So this is something, when I finally saw the video that he came up with, I was pleasantly surprised, and it was something that I have never came across, because in the past, I I have never really collaborated with someone, and even if we do, it's usually very controlled. So this is something that is very exciting for the both of us. So a little bit of my previous artwork. So I'm basically an illustrator. I illustrate books, illustrate like editorial illustration, posters, character design, that kind of stuff. So this is me and my book and some of my artwork. And other than that, I also like, because for me, illustration always feels a little bit restricted, even though I love it a lot. So at the same time, I also explore a little bit, especially in the past 2-3 years, of applying my illustrations on different mediums or different materials. So for example, like shirt design, fabric, and then I painted some murals using like markers, a mini sort of installation with paper. And then this was done last year, a big, it's kind of like a big billboard, but actually some of these parts are painted with paint lah. So it's like kind of like mural / billboard kind of thing. And this is something that that was very recent. So earlier this year, I also finally illustrated and worked a little bit on my first animation. So this was a project. It's called Reformasi Undang-Undang Perburuhan Malaysia. So it's about these laborers where they face a lot of unfair treatments in Malaysia, and they are it's quite, if you look at the initial script, right, it is very serious and there are a lot of very hard information. So our client kind of like commissioned us to come up with a video which is easily understandable and easily spread across mainly blue collar factory workers. So this was done right before we started this project. So when we first started on this project, we did a little bit of research on Penang. And for all the research that we found is that we don't really know what happened. We don't actually know much about what happens in the past. All of our research always start with in 1786. Yeah, and there's this guy called Francis Light. He came to Penang. So he's a British guy. He came along with the British East India Company. So after that, he kind of, there's an interesting anecdote that to clean out the swamp, so which is the area that is called Esplanade now. Francis Light loaded his ships with cannons and fired silver coins into the swamps to motivate the laborers. So after that, that piece of land was the first established land, and then it slowly became what we know as Georgetown. And then after that, it became like one of the major free ports in the Southeast Asia by the end of 19th century. So this is something that we came across multiple times when we were doing our first research. So me and Carrie started to think, okay, so why do we always see the story of Penang in kind of like, why does the story starts here? What happens before the British came, like even before like the name is called Penang? Are there any things that are worth exploring and worth noting down? So our main idea came from there. So we kind of came up with 3 parts. The first part is that we want to talk a little bit about this short story that I kind of like show you guys just now here. So this is our first part. The British came and colonized Penang. And then the second part is about Penang before the British. And then the third part is Penang in an alternate reality. So it's something fun that Carrie and I came about. So this is combining Carrie and I, my background, Carrie's background in animation and mine in illustration. So we both have a common ground, which is like storytelling. So we decided to start our animation with a book to show like what we are telling is a story, and the title of it is called Pulau Kasatu, an alternate reality. So the first part will be, okay, so this is some images that I found, which depicts, some of them are Penang, some of them are Singapore, but this is a very distinct, these sort of paintings are a very distinct feature or sort of paintings at that time, because they wanted to portray this piece of land as an idyllic place. So this is something that stood out for me from my research. And also, if you go through all these paintings during that time, the 18th century, it will always look like this. There's like some little villages, and then the sea, the ocean, and then the ships, the British ships, and then some trees to show like we are in a tropical country. And then these, there are also like things like this. Some of them paints these swamps in Malaysia, in Singapore. So these are all taken from my trip. Okay, before in the past, one of my hobby is also go to galleries. So when we are working on this project, it's something that stood out to me is that when I used to go to these galleries, I kind of took all these photos. And when this project started, all these photos and all these my previous archivers came useful. So it is something that is quite interesting as well. So after we have decided on our theme and our basic storyline, we decided to work on our artwork. And because of Carrie's background, Carrie live in Java, and also as the theme is also on Rojak, so we tried to mix different elements into our animation. So on top of our different background, say like me doing illustration, Carrie doing animation, we also decided to add in an extra element in this piece of work, which is wayang kulit. So right now you can't really see much, but I have actually taken some influence from wayang kulit as well. With if you see the rest of the artwork, I illustrated some of my items in this kind of like silhouette, black cutout kind of style. So this is something that this is our initial storyboard. So this is what I illustrate in the end. So you could see there are influences from these paintings, but in a kind of like a little bit of modern way, and with the wayang kulit style. And also in our initial story, there's this part where when Francis Light came, right, he arrived at a piece of som. So this is actually the piece of som. We could, you can, if you see clearly, these are like mangrove trees. So these mangrove trees will kind of like link us throughout the whole story. So other than for this project, like what I said just now, Carrie kind of like let me play with whatever I want to. And the only request that he asked from me is to have this pink color, because when we first started, I asked Carrie, what color do you like? And he told me pink. So I said, all right, pink. So pink will be the color that we brought throughout the whole story, right? So next, we for the second part, we will have Francis Light, the founder of Penang, and then this is his statue. So when we were working on this, I also found a little piece of his little plate, because when we are working on our animation, I decided to add this just to emphasize, to let people know that who is who he is. So this is a little piece that I took from here. Okay, so then as I said just now, because of Carrie's background in, Carrie lives in Indonesia, and also my obsession with, my recent obsession with Raya and the Last Dragon, we decided to illustrate this Francis Light in this wayang kulit style. So this will be, in this scene, he will look like he is in color, and then at the next scene, when we project him onto the background, he will turn black. And then this part is about him kind of like telling these laborers to work very hard. And then there's this cannon which fires silver coin out of the cannon. And then if you look at the animation, the coins will like fly out through the cannon. And then it will scatter all around this piece of swarm. And then these are the laborers who are working on. So these are some images reference of the costume where people wear in the past. And then I also discovered this little coin, which was used at that time as well. So I based my coin design through this piece of, I don't know how much it's worth at that time or even now, but this is the piece of penny that I found, and I quite like this sort of little, we kind of regard them as Easter egg, like Carrie and I. So this is like the first part, the end of the first part of our story. And then we will move on to what Penang is like before the British came. So in our ideal world, Penang will be very peaceful, idyllic, with this mangrove tree. In our animation, the mangrove tree roots will be growing, and then the animals will be shown. These animals are all very tropical animals, and these are some illustrations we found from those encyclopedia, like OO encyclopedia. So we base our animals on these sort of research. And then the last part will be Penang now, but with some like imagination. So we took a few prominent buildings from Georgetown, this Komta building, and then we would have the Chong Fat Zi mansion, and also the last part is Chu Jetty. So combining the animals from our previous artwork, we depict this orang-utan climbing Komta just for fun. And then we would have the Chong Fat Zi Museum. And then this is the Jade Emperor. So at Chu Jetty in Penang, every year they would have a huge celebration of the birthday of Jade Emperor, if I'm not mistaken. So this is, if you look at our animation, this whole part, this whole act is quite chaotic, but fun and energetic at the same way. So this is around the end of my mini presentation. I would like to give a lot of thanks to my partner, Carrie, because throughout the journey, he has displayed a lot of patience, because I have no idea what to do a lot of things with my background. So he gave me a lot of guidance. And also when we were working on this, the pandemic, as in the lockdown hits, and I was actually quite affected for a few days. So my work productivity was super low, and I'm very thankful to Carrie. With his encouragement, we could actually finish this, and I'm very proud of us, and very grateful to all of my mates here, Sophia, Vincent, Haris, Mel, Kam, Charlene, and Shakil. Thank you so much. I think I hope I didn't miss anyone. So that's all from me. I will pass the stage to Carrie. Thank you so much.
Hello guys, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, thank you for good presentation from Junro. I think about the concept, she tell all of it. But first of all, I will say thanks to Sakir, Georgetown, and Philman because uh, it's really weird feeling because I was collaborated with an artist that I never met before and on a different country. Also, I joined this residency by watch some poster in Facebook group and I just put my portfolio over there and yeah, and actually I never been to Malaysia and Johnston either, and it's really thankful to have a collaborator that actually know about some of the culture in there. So I will share some screen. Yeah, I will share some of my favorite shot from this projection mapping piece. Actually, a lot of Indo illustration is what I can say is like motionable, and as a motion people, it's really love to have a great illustration, but sometimes it give me a lot of pressure in how can I animate this kind of beautiful illustration, but Italy is a lot of fun. And one of my favorite scene is about this opening. Yeah, it's in this opening actually it's one of the complex scenes in our project schematic piece because I need to animate and respond a lot of things, but with a lot of this thing actually make some balance in the screen and a lot of in full the facade we can see all the movement. And the second one, this is also my favorite. Yeah, the growing tree, and it's really lucky to me too to find the match background music. Yeah, and I really love the monkey. And also also this dragon one is one of my favorite because when you look the face, it's really angry or dark or scary dragon, but I can make like a funny jelly dragon. So it's more like this is the angry dragon, but with the jelly body. So it's really fun to animate this dragon. Yeah, that's what I will share about. I love all the scene, but that part is the three scene that I really enjoy to animate because there's a lot thing I can explore. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, Gary. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
I didn't know that you never been to Malaysia or Georgetown. So yeah,
No.
definitely if you come, we'll bring
Sure,
you around. Yes, let us know.
Yes, please come.
Yeah, after the pandemic, I think.
Yes, after the pandemic, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, it sort of like remind me of one of my friend Adi Setiawan and also Fajar, who actually joined our open call in 2019 when we did open call. During that time, they actually flew from Bandung to Georgetown to just actually look at their piece. And we've been friends since then. So I hope that it's again, like this kind of project open up that opportunity for all of us. Yeah, I really do hope so we can actually work on different kind of project in the near future. Again, yeah, I think that's all from all of our artists. We miss out a few of our artists from Mexico and also Romania. Definitely they are on different time zone, so hopefully we can actually still catch up with them soon. But I guess that's what we have for tonight. We would like to actually open up for Q&A. I see some of questions that even the artists themselves have. So Sophia, do you want to ask your question here out loud, or?
Yeah, sure. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering where everyone finds their music from. I see some answers in the chat.
Yeah,
but I'm just curious. And is it always royalty free, or just curious how it works?
Yeah, so like on my side, I would actually resonate more to Kerry and also Haris, where we do a lot of motion graphic stuff. So because that is also one of our bread and butter, I actually do make a living out of it also. So I subscribe to Envato or a few other online website that we can actually get very simple elements like audio or quick illustration or quick simple animation or plugins where we can make our work faster. So yeah, Envato would actually help a lot. I actually use FreePic for some of my project. Depends on what kind of client and also what kind of project that I'm working on. So it depends definitely. But again, like what you know and Kerry did, right? That is like really the best feeling ever. I actually felt the same way because I can't really actually do a lot of illustration, and I actually don't really do 3D modeling and 3D animation. So I'm a motion graphic artist. But to have to do a lot like really good motion graphic, you need to have really good illustration. So like pairing Yunro and Kerry is actually the best thing ever you can actually do. And I would like to actually see more of that kind of things happen, because like for me, even when I work in the industry, when I was in agency, it's I don't actually do the whole entire thing by my own. I mean, we have our team who do illustration, and then we take the illustration and then animate it. We even have our 3D modeler, we have our 3D rigger, 3D animator, and then I'll normally will just do final compositing or mixing everything. So the whole idea is basically you need to collaborate with a lot of people to create something, because like I think the idea of this piece is created by one single person. I think moving forward, we need to break that kind of barrier where it's always better if you have more people working on it. I mean, I understand the difficulties, different opinion and so on, but there's always an opportunity. Like I guess all of us also went through during this residency. So I hope it sort of help us on growing into our going out from our comfort zone and getting to know different kind of things, and then doing different kind of stuff that we do before. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically you were asking about music, right? So yeah, you can actually go to Envato or a few other. There's a few other website also you can actually download. And there is also royalty free music that you can actually find online a lot. Actually. Yeah. Cool. Is there any questions? Other question that we can actually have? Well, okay, so there is one audience actually asking why are the dragon really angry? Carry on, Yunro, if you guys want to answer.
Sorry. What is the question?
There is one audience asking why is the dragon is so angry?
There's no particular reason.
I don't know, but
just for fun lah.
Cool. I see our friend from Sarawak, Izzy. Do you guys want to ask anything?
What's your favorite software It's okay. For a medium.
Me, I
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
Shit. My my favorite software. Okay, most of the time actually I for this project I didn't actually do anything other than just doing the final mapping stuff. And to be honest, actually when you, this also just sharing to the artist. Once you guys actually send your piece to me, I basically need to readjust it for me before I actually go into mapping. So I need to make it flat before I actually can take your output and then map it onto the actual mockup itself. So I do use a lot of the After Effects. So I would say my favorite software would be After Effects. But yeah, definitely you can see here, you know, Mel using Notch and you know Sherlyn actually using Touch Designer. I think that's something that I would want to hop into soon. Probably Sherlyn can share more about that. You know, Touch Designer. So that's something interesting. And just to let you guys know, so this is our also friend from Sarawak, Titi Buta. They did some installation, like super nice installation back in Urbanscapes. And yeah, I mean, maybe next time we can go to Sarawak and do something in Sarawak too.
Yeah, sure. Anyone wants to come Sarawak, let us know.
We have some cake lapis also last time. I mean, Mel did cake lapis.
Cake lapis or laksa Sarawak, anything, let us know.
Awesome, awesome. Cool. All right. Sophia, you wanted to ask where you buy animated peacock?
So we don't buy animated peacock, but we buy 3D
Model.
modeling of the peacocks. So I think you can go like Turbo Squid or like, I think there's a lot. Yeah, you just type Google like by 3D modeling and peacock plus peacock. So what we do is actually from the 3D model, Vincent is very good at rigging. So he rig it and then we put the texture. So for the colors, actually there's a reflection of a light only. So basically if there's no colors, the peacock is just a silver, like a chrome colors. Yeah.
Thank you. I always wondered this whole month.
It's $5. Yeah, that's good price for a peacock.
True. Yeah, I mean like that's something interesting to see. Like right now you have this much more bigger library, much more bigger opportunity, like you know places where you can actually find all these kind of element. Last time I used to actually download and keep all this kind of thing, but right now it's that okay, if I need this, I just download and then just throw it because I just can always find it later on because I want to keep my space as clean as possible. But yeah, I mean you can just Google basically any single thing, including what we did with the city itself, because for us to remodel the whole entire city, it's going to take us for a while. So we did actually find help with Google Map and also from Tebusquit and a few other website. So we managed to actually build the city much more faster. And I don't think this is the latest city because I'm not sure. I don't think this is the latest map that we get. Because if we wanted to do that, we need to actually go to Georgetown and basically fly a drone and take picture of each different angle and remodel the whole entire thing, which it's crazy. But it will be something interesting for us to do maybe soon. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Kerry. Yeah, there's a lot of ways or places they can actually get a lot of things on the internet. Mel was asking just now, why Yunro and Kerry choose pink? Just because it's Kerry's favorite color?
Yes, pink is Carrie's favorite color. And because
Yeah.
I was thinking, because we are going to project this thing, so I was thinking of using more bright colors. That's just the thought behind it. Yeah, like a very bright pink will brighten up the whole animation. That's the thought process.
That's true. That's true. I mean, like for me, when I do prediction or anything that I do on my personal project, I use a lot of quite a vibrant color because it's just the way how lights works. If you use brighter color, it's sort of like because even for the recording itself, right? If you see the whole recording that we did, when we do projection, the projection is not only within that, within that square or within that box. It's actually spilled out. The color that you use actually spill out to different to the walls and also to the floor itself that we did. So it's kind of interesting to see live. I think the only person here who see it is Sophia, because Sophia is in KL and she managed to actually come and check out the last day when we were doing recording. So I just hope that we can actually do this physically. This is basically my second time to virtual mapping, which is kind of sad because I managed to actually see it because I did the final part of it, which is mapping and recording the whole entire thing. But I would want like different person or different people actually see it from different perspective and take picture from different kind of angle that I actually never see it before. So that's always the best thing about doing projection mapping, because what we all do, especially us as digital artists, we see our work always inside this square within our in front of us, which is monitor or laptop or our phones. But the opportunity to bring your work from screen back to physical space is something interesting. Like at first, when I first time do it, I was like, man, this is so crazy. So I wanted to actually bring that to a lot of other artists, like not only motion graphic artists or 3D artists or animator, just anyone, So that's basically essentially why we actually do this. And I guess some of you guys managed to do that and get that experience. I hope we have more opportunity to do it in the near future, and hopefully it will be something that you guys can actually see physically, like you can go and see it physically. So yeah, yes. Any other questions, or I guess we can actually end it already. We were expecting it to be only 1.5 hours. We already exceed slightly. Not really slightly, but yeah, it's interesting to basically overall see everyone's work. And we did actually go through each one of your work throughout the whole entire process. We actually talk about it, but to really see the whole entire thing is really interesting. And the work that you guys put and the time that you guys actually made for this project is actually it's actually a lot. And I hope it's in a way sort of like help you guys one way or another, because like it does actually help me. Like for example, when I want to do the projection mapping, I basically I sort of know or understand how I wanted to do it, but Kerry actually helped me to share stuff that he got from different residency. So even I actually learned a lot from you guys. So it's really interesting period. And personally, I think this virtual residency actually one of the things that keeps me going every day during this pandemic, because cannot go out, and I always look forward to that, basically meet you guys and see all this cool stuff, because I don't have to do anything much because I just like check out all your stuff and just basically make sure everything is been done properly and we can actually do the recording. That's all. So yeah, I guess that's about it from me. If any one of you guys wanted to have a few say, or like any final question before we close down the session. No? Oh, good. All right, so I guess that's about it. Or maybe Kwok Yong, you wanted to say, you can say something? No? Because I think this is the first time you see the whole entire process.
Yeah. I didn't involve in the whole process, so yeah. I missed a lot of the fun, I suppose. But seeing a lot of positive energy and vibes here is sort of cheer up my day. I mean, we all know that, you know, the art scene now is pretty distressful, right? It has been a year and a half for all the cultural activity to be shut down and things like that. So we really have to rely on ourselves, kita jaga kita, right? I'm glad that along this process of, you know, during this pandemic time, we actually make more friends, I think, you know, through all the virtual event, and also through all these small effort initiated by different, you know, good Samaritan in the art scenes like Philemon, Shakir, so are all our others collaborators and friends like in the art scene. So it's a very small scene. We'll probably see each other very often again, because it needs all the people to actually, you know, to build this history as well as this the art and cultural economy of the country, despite all these negative things, you know, policy-wise, politics and so on. I think there's still a lot of good things happening. Thanks to you guys. All right. That's all.
Thank you, Kak Yong. Yeah, it was really great that I personally, I mean, I didn't actually expect it would be turned out to this level, this you know, point. But I'm really glad that we did this, and I really hope that we all can do something together. Maybe something in Vietnam, or something in Indonesia, or something in different places. But again, I guess you know, even what I see within art itself, right, or within what we do, creative as a creative person, we always find ways to you know, do whatever we want to do. At the end of the day, even though we cannot go out, we still want to do something. So yeah, this is what we managed to do within, you know, all of our limitation. And I hope each one, all of you guys who actually joined this sharing session benefited one way or another. And I look forward to basically either host it or join other program like this. And I hope, you know, there is more opportunity for other people to actually do this. Yeah. So yes, that's about it. Yes, thank you everyone. Thank you. And I guess that's about it for today. And we'll wrap up. And do check out the final output. Actually, we actually posted up the high definition version on Filament YouTube. If you want to check out the piece again, we will actually post up like an individual piece also soon in our YouTube channel. And even this recording also, we're going to also post it on YouTube channel if you guys miss out the earlier version, like the earlier artists who actually presented. So I think again, I would like to thank you to everyone, to Georgetown Festival for giving this opportunity, because I always wanted to do this, and to have this platform, which Georgetown Festival especially, because it's such in prestige event every year that we have. So thank you to Georgetown and Georgetown Festival, and to our you know, long-term partner Epson, who always help us, and definitely our partner in FFU, and also Connective Kini in Penang, who help us to basically realize this. Because I was like, you know, I reckon my brain, like, how am I going to do this you know, mock-up of a whole city, right? So yeah, thank you for that, and thank you to all of the artists also putting up their work, putting up their you know, time to do this project. So yeah, I guess that's about it from me, and I hope we all will meet soon. I guess that's about it. Right? Thank you guys. Bye.
When we manage to get out from this together, I'll treat you guys coffee in February.
Yes, we should. I think all Malaysian who's Malaysian in around KL, we can actually visit February soon.
Yeah.
Oh, come to KL specifically for this.
Yes. You were there last time, right? You know?
Yeah. I moved back because of the pandemic. Yeah.
Please send us the coffee bean to Indonesia.
All right, cool.
All right.
Right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys. Thank
Bye,
you so
guys.
much.
Thank you,
Bye, guys.
Bye.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you for the time.
Bye.
Good night.